Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode in spiritual readiness in the time of the shift. I'm finding it for the past few weeks to be a little bit challenged by the amount of requests that I'm getting from clients and from general public asking me for prayers for the crises that they are under. Whether it is a car accident, whether it is some emotional, personal upheaval, financial woes, disease, I am surrounded by people who are in crises. And as a healer and an empath, if I'm not careful, I tend to also begin to absorb and feel a sense of responsibility for their well-being. For a healer, you have to walk a fine line between being empathetic to the need and trying to support, yet at the same time not taking the burden and the responsibility to fix them. Okay? And for me, that's often, particularly when there's a lot of requests, I tend to be very good about it. When there's a lot of requests, it happens that sometimes I kind of begin to wave into a pattern of realizing after a day, oh, no, I'm trying to fix the problem. And I have to surrender it to God and release it and let God do what is for their highest good. And I have to say to you that what they're looking for is for a sense of safety. There is instability everywhere on the planet right now, whether it is through climate change, whether it is socio-politically, terror attack that just happened, walking distance from my house in New York City. There is all kinds of woes that begin to agitate us and cause us to go into fear. And part of the solution for this, to find a sense of stability and safety, is to create a good spiritual practice. There are so many people out there that are doing all kinds of other things in the light community that are calling it and labeling it ascension. And I wanna talk a little bit about this today because it's important. You could be doing all kind of other healing. You could be reading the tarot card, shells, whatever it is that you're doing. You could be doing all kind of things, but it seems to me that everyone is calling this ascension. Ascension is something that's very specific, and it has to do with a desire to merge with God. Okay? So if you are, sidestepping or doing something else, it's not ascension. Okay? It's important that we call a spade a spade. And I'm not judging. I'm not saying that one thing is better than the other. I'm not saying that one is more superior than the other. I'm just stating the fact that I've noticed this, that many people are calling what they are doing ascension, and ascension this. And moreover, there is a feeling in the light community that somehow, because of the changes that are taking place right now, globally and planetarily and cosmically, that somehow everybody's being waved in, like the class is being graded on a curve, and all of us will automatically ascend. This is not the case. Let me explain. Cosmologically, right now, an event is about to occur that has not occurred for 31 million years. The Milky Way galaxy is a flat galaxy. It's like a pancake. It has a thickness which is about 100 light years across. But above it and below it, there are no stars and no planet and no suns. Okay? One rotation around the galactic core takes 250 million years. And during that rotation, our solar system and the Earth wobble up and down the crust of the Milky Way galaxy. And that wobble, either up or down, takes 31 million years to happen. And when it's either above or below, it crosses the light that comes from the galactic equator. And that, my friends, is something major. Because that light, when we are in the cross, we cannot possibly see it because there are too many planet dust particle that blinds us from direct connection to it. Now, it's true that because we're about now to transition to above and to hit that light, that a lot of things have been accelerated. Okay, so there are all kind of sensation and perception. The planet itself, the earth, the animals, and all of them are actually moving into a higher level of consciousness. But humanity is in grave danger because we're disconnected to our heart. We are not connected to it. And because we're disconnected and disjointed, and more importantly, we are in fear. We're suppressing fear inside of our lower chakras. And because we are in fear, that energy that's taking the earth and all the other species that are in their heart into a higher consciousness cannot take us. It's our responsibility and our work to make sure that we shift the fear and transmute that lead into gold. And when you do this, there is ascendance. Okay? And I want to be very clear about this because a lot of people are waving, talking about this all the time. Oh, I'm feeling ascension symptom. I'm feeling this. Yet I don't see, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see anybody really putting into true spiritual practice the mechanics that are necessary for ascension. Let me explain. You see, my friends, ascension is not an intellectual exercise. Reading books about ascension, thinking about ascended masters, thinking about enlightened being, and thinking of yourself as being on a higher level of consciousness. It's all linear thinking. It's all cognitive. It's all counting being. It's what Master Dwalkul, through the channeling of Alice Bailey, calls being horizontal. You are simply being horizontal. Whereas ascension is taking the idea and the cognitive function of higher consciousness and bringing it into a holographic emotional experience that will shift your awareness. It's like taking an intellectual idea and inflating it into a complete immersive experience that will shift your body, all of your bodies, all of your energy bodies into into a new space. That, my friend, is ascension. And for that to happen, your emotional body has to be unblocked. And what is blocking it? The fear that we're holding within ourselves. The lower emotion that we're suppressing. And whatever you resist gets bigger, it persists. And as it gets bigger, and when we cross the galactic equator, that energy of the crossing will only read the emotion that occupies the largest portion of your consciousness. And if that emotion is fear because we're suppressing it, it will read fear and take us into a reality of fear. Whereas if you're in true ascendance and you've transmuted the emotional body, the work that the planet should be doing right now is emotional intelligence. It's the transmutation of the emotional body. Now you can think about the idea, for example, of true empathy or service or giving, all of these higher ascended concepts. They will remain completely flat as simply a word on a book. You will not know what the feeling actually truly means. You may have a dictionary definition for it, but you will not know what it really means until it has been inflated. And for that to happen, you have to first walk to the territory of the lower emotions, where the blockages are. You have to start with the blockages and you have to remove them. And once you've I'll explain in the video how to remove them. But once you unblock it and you remove it, then you can begin now to allow yourself it has to be, in other words, you have to transmute those lower emotions into something else that will allow you access and to finally get to a point of connecting to a higher emotion. I remember talking to one student of mine for 2 years. trying to explain a certain feeling, a certain connection. You have to connect with God and all that. And God for her was an intellectual idea that she wanted. She understood it, yet she could not connect to it. She had no point of reference. And by the way, for a lot of millennial, God is a bad word. It's like saying a 4-letter word, because they have been so disappointed the way God has been presented to them by religion. So to bring the idea and the concept of merger with God means that you have to surrender your conception of that creator, of that the benefactor, has to be completely different than the fire and the brimstone, right? And so it took me 2 years of continuous conversation and also the removal of all these false belief and false identity that she had attached to God, and removing until one day God showed up to her and she busted out into tears. And she began now to understand what ascension was, what merging with God was. So I'm saying that I would recommend for many of you who are seeking ascendance, enlightenment, you should seek a connection to your God concept. You should remove the false belief. I'm not telling you to drop your religion. I'm not telling you. I'm saying it should evolve into a higher thinking. And that thinking then needs to be inflated into an emotional, immersive, and holographic experience. I hope this was clear. So before I end the video, I want to basically do a meditation with you, if you don't mind. This is the first time I'm doing a meditation online. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly, and let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. In my mission of shepherding humanity, Lord, give me the clarity to separate my issues from that of my flock, the discernment to release their burden unto you, the compassion to understand their pain and suffering, the intuition to know when to speak and when to be silent, the empathy to sense their distress and worries, the wisdom to allow you to speak through me, the detachment to help to let you heal them according to your plan, and most of all, the humility to understand that whole healing happened through you. May I be a witness to your endless miracle, for you are the giver, the benefactor of all suffering. Take a very deep and slow breath, and whenever you feel ready, open your eyes. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it, like it, subscribe, and also leave comments. Let me know if there's any topics that you would like me to discuss. I will see you later. Thank you, and have a blessed, beautiful